Well, what's all this stuff on the table there, guys? Well, we're going to look at 5 knives that I think really fit the purpose built self-defense or secondary, backup weapon type of knife. Now, I typically don't like to talk about knives as weapons, but you have to admit they actually fit that purpose. They are usually tools, but that's not what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to turn this around. We're going to take a look at these 5 knives that I think really fit the bill as self-defense or backup weapons. Guys, like I said in the intro, we are going to look at something that's out of character on the channel. I'm going to talk about knives to be used as weapons, not necessarily weapons exclusively, but they can be used as backups to existing weapons. So the first knife we're going to look at is going to be this K-Bar TDI. It is one of the ones that is very law enforcement centric. So let's go ahead and get everything else out of the way and talk about this one. Now, this is the K-Bar TDI, and it's done by the Tactical Defense Institute in Ohio, and it was designed by them. And this is a knife that absolutely was designed to be carried as a secondary or backup weapon. It is meant to be used weak-hand, as you can see. This is how it's set up. If you're carrying your firearm on your right-hand side, this would go on your left. You basically pull this out, and it's just a push and slash weapon. It is very, very good in the grip department and for slashing and things like that. It's basically adding to your hand-to-hand capabilities an edged weapon. So it's not a real big blade. You're looking at just about a 2-inch blade on this, but it is very, very sharp. It's done in 1480 steel, made in Taiwan. But like I said, this was designed so that you didn't really have to think much. You already know how your firearm feels in your hand. You're grabbing that and it's the same thing, and then you're just basically punching and striking with it. It does come in a very, very good sheath. Very well done. Now, mine is going to look different because I had mine customized to match the grips on one of my firearms. On one of my pew-pews, but really big belt clip on this because it's meant to go on a duty belt. But if you're carrying this on a regular belt, it's still really good. The only problem I've ever had with it is that little lip right there, which I have intended to grind off several times. It does catch and it prevents it from coming off the belt real easily, but that's because it's designed to not come off of a duty belt. For me, it's just kind of a pain. But nice paddle style holster. It carries really well. And if you happen to carry it in your strong hand that way, you now have another addition. So now you can punch and strike from this way if you choose. Now, these are not something that you're going to use for everyday carry. It's not something you have around for carrying for opening boxes and things. This is absolutely a defense, a self-defense tool or weapon. So there you go. There's your first one, the K-Bar TDI. This next one is the Spyderco police model, and I'll tell you that this is not like the last one. This is absolutely something you can carry as an EDC knife, but this is definitely something that I would say would classify as a second chance self-defense item if needed. You've got all kinds of points of carry on this. You have tip up, tip down, right, left on both sides. And the thing about this is a very comfortable knife, and it's got just the things you would want if you needed for self-defense. You've got very, very piercing point, nice edge and straight for cuts and things like that. This will puncture through multiple layers of clothing, and then a very, very comfortable grip. The thing that it's got going for it is a very thin package. If you don't want to take up much space, you can definitely throw this in a pocket. It is an incredibly good knife. The VG10 on it is resilient, which is something you're going to want in this. It's not going to break real easily. Your edge isn't going to chip real easily. And you've got a very good purchase on it. I know that looks slick. There's no real finger guard. But when you get your thumb on that, you're pushing your thumb forward and it pushes the knife back into your hand. So it does have a very, very tight pinch point here that you have got extreme control over. I don't think it would be really easy with that thumb locking you in to come up and over. So lots of good things going on with that. Really good, comfortable pocket clip, ease in and out of pocket. Now, I will say, as I always say, if you're going to carry an item for self-defense, make sure that you at least train to it, at least get some training. But the fact is, what's the best knife for self-defense? Whatever knife you have. In a pinch, yeah, I do know that you run the risk of it getting taken away and used against you, but the fact is, it's better to have something than to have nothing. This is a very, very good option as a secondary defense tool or a primary. So there you go. Spyderco Police. Next knife is
Cold Steel
SafeMaker 1 push dagger. Now they come in various sizes. This is a very large one. They absolutely do have smaller ones. I've managed to get something all over this. But these are very, very good because they require a very little training in use. It's basically a lot like the TDI. It's grab it, and then you basically can just punch your way out of the situation. Once again, I'm not saying that you should carry this as a self-defense tool. I'm just saying that's what they're marketed as, and I think it's a very good one. The thing with this blade is it has a very triangular shape. It's going to leave a devastating wound track as opposed to, I'll show you when you're gonna see we have a couple knives that are by the same company. As a matter of fact, the next knives are all by the same two companies, Spyderco and Cold Steel. So I'm gonna stagger them, but I will show you what I'm talking about. This leaves a massive, massive wound track. And the fact is, it's very hard to take that knife from you because you have it in that punch grip. It's very, very stable. It's very secure. These ones are nice and rounded around the shank right there. So you have got a very good, comfortable grip on it. And the sheaths on these are always very good. Positive, positive control. Cold Steel does a good job with these sheaths. The belt clip on this isn't as good as some other knives, but it's adequate and it's got that big hook. So once it is on your belt, it's really hard to get it back off. You have to absolutely lift that up and get it back off of your belt. Plus, you can lash this to gear if you needed to for other things. These are popular with military. I do know that the units I was attached to, we were told we couldn't have these. These were an item that we were not allowed to have, but there was a lot of us that still had them. So really, really good grip. The handles on this, even if your hands are wet and oily, still really good. And like I said, retention on these is very, very good. So there you go. There is your third one, the Cold Steel SafeMaker 1. So like I said, you're going to see 2 Cold Steels and 2 Spydercos because as much as I can't argue that these are really, really good defensive tools. This is the Spyderco Matriarch 2, based off the Civilian. This is a very, very light, very easy to carry, 100% self-defense and defensive tool right here. This would be something I could see a police officer carrying in his belt as a secondary tool because there is not a lot of required training to use this. This is a devastating cutter. The reverse S-shaped blade drives material in, so you have a deep cut here, and then it drives material in and drags that very, very acute point and material through. This is not something I would carry as a day-to-day user and cutter. This would be very, very thin and easy to crack and break. But for defensive purposes, absolutely. First of all, it's intimidating looking. I would think twice if somebody had this, but the fact is it is also very good at what it was designed for. The Civilian was designed for undercover agents to carry so they would have a weapon if they couldn't carry a firearm. And this was something that required very little training. Sal Glesser came up with this design for one of those 3-letter agencies, and it is a very, very good design. Still, you do have a lanyard hold available on this model, and there are models of this that come with the wave feature, so you can wave it right out of your pocket. Like I said, really light, easy to carry, easy to handle. This would be one that I would say females. This was designed for females, to tell you the truth. There's a whole story about South Africa asking Sal to come up with a more affordable version of the Civilian because there were so many forced sexual attacks in South Africa, and this was something that they wanted to try and be able to have on the market. So this thing is amazing and absolutely would fit that purpose incredibly. As a matter of fact, that's what it was designed for. So there you go. The Cold Steel Matriarch 2 or the Civilian. I don't have the Civilian, but I'm going to throw that out. Either one of those would be great. I like this one because it's a little smaller, a little lighter. So it's a little easier to carry. So there you go. There is your fourth one, the Spyderco Matriarch 2. And your final knife is going to be any of the Cold Steel counterattack boot knife series. These are great. These are some of the best boot knives on the market. Really, really secure grip on this. Now, this one's a little large. They have a smaller version of this, the counterattack 2, which is a good bit smaller. This is actually pretty large. This would not be something I would expect somebody to carry as a secondary. I mean, you could, but that's a big, probably 10 or 11 inch overall package. But what I was saying about these knives that are done in this this delta pattern with the hollow and then the grinds on it that come down really thick is they leave a very devastating wound track that is going to aid in what the ultimate plan was, which is to get the bad guy off of you. Let me grab a piece of cardboard. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I've grabbed two other knives. So this is another boot knife. This is an old A.G. Russell Sting. And when you punch through cardboard with it, you get a very distinct wound pattern, stab pattern. This one is my Begletter XL. It also, you get that kind of the same thin pattern. Now, the reason that these are so devastating is they're very, very piercing and they leave a much larger pattern. So you can see that was way easier than any of the other knives just because of the way that the tip and everything is done on it. But it leaves you a much, much larger wound pattern, which I don't like to talk about it because YouTube doesn't like it, but the end purpose of this is as a weapon, you know what that's going to cause. It's going to cause a much more difficult wound to staunch blood flow. And so these are very, very good at what they do. And I have to admit, Cold Steel and Spyderco have really got some of the best self-defense items on the market. I would say the smaller version of this would be better for most people. I like this large boot knife just because it's cool. But once again, very, very good handle on this. Really good control with this swell, this wasp waisted handle that comes down with a really good guard on it. Regardless how you're holding it, it is really, really good. And like I said, you've got such good control on this. I saved this for last because I think this would be one of the easier ones to lose control of, just because of the design of it. But definitely the same style blade as the push dagger. So either way you go with it, you've got a really good defensive weapon. So it's one I don't like to talk about really well because it brings up the whole controversy of tools versus weapons. Knives, in my opinion, are 100% tools, but there are times when they kind of blur that line, you know, for what they were designed and purposed for. So that's it on this one, guys. Let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts and send you out about your day. Guys, that's it on this one. I don't usually like to talk about knives as weapons. It's just something that's kind of outside of the norm. But they absolutely can be used as backup weapons or weapons in a pinch. And some of them are absolutely purpose-built for self-defense, as you saw. Cold Steel by far has some of the largest number of them on the market. They really have got a lot of those self-defense. It's kind of the market that they pinned was the military and self-defense and stuff like that, the tactical market. So guys, that's pretty much it on this one. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but please try to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, like I say, liking a video is the best thing you can do. The closer a video gets to a 1-to-1 like to view ratio, the more the YouTube is going to recommend it. So, like I said, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got it set for all. And make sure that you've got notifications turned on your device. If you want to support the channel financially, there's a ton of ways. I have a bunch of affiliate links down below. I do know that some of them are specific, but even if you click on that and search something else, I get credit for it, and it doesn't cost you anything extra at checkout. So if you've got some shopping to do, just find one of my affiliate links, click on it, and then search the items you're looking for. There's a couple of them that have discounts. Atlas VPN, 80% off through 85% off through the holidays. And Coffee Brand Coffee is 5% off your overall order on some of the best coffee I've had in a long time. Other ways you can do it, I have a membership. It's all tier-based. Everyone that's a member has access to my Gilded server, which is just like Discord. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into a giveaway that I do on the Gilded server. And the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series that's on YouTube behind that paywall. And the final way is I have got a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. where you can pick up my merchandise, which no one ever does, at a discount. 10% off. Use my coupon code CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp. Saves you 10% at checkout. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section if it's your birthday. Happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video.